Hello, my friends, and welcome. I think it's time for us to finally discuss a more comprehensive strategy for how we're going to go about saving our online businesses and hopefully helping them even grow. Or maybe it's finally time for us to acknowledge the fact that blogging is dead. Did you see what I did there? I took the belief that blogging is dead and I called it a fact. And I want you to pause for just a second and ask yourself, did you even question that statement? Or did you just accept it as a fact because I said it was? A fact is a statement that's undeniably true. Facts can't even really be debated. Only the interpretation of facts can be debated. If, for instance, you have less traffic to your website now than you did before the March Google Apocalypse update, at least that's what I'm calling it for now, then it's a fact that you have less traffic now than you did before. That's pretty undisputable. But does that fact absolutely mean that your site is now dead? No, that's an interpretation of the fact that you lost traffic. And that interpretation could lead you to let your site that currently is only mostly dead to become all dead. Lots of people are calling this the post-Google era for content sites. It seems that we can't rely on Google search anymore for organic traffic, so we're going to have to start getting all of our traffic from somewhere else. But is that a fact? I mean, at the same time, we are still seeing Google sending a lot of traffic to websites. They're just not, sending it to as many websites. That's because it looks like they're favoring brands way over personal blog sites. Well, brands and Reddit. If you're Reddit, you can basically rank #1 for anything. So, are we going to take steps to get in Google's good graces so that we can reclaim that beautiful organic traffic we used to have? I mean, if we build a brand, we could potentially get that back. Or are we going to take steps to start getting our traffic from somewhere else so that we're not so dependent on Google anymore? The answer, for me at least, is yes. Yes, we're going to do both because both require basically the same steps. So here's where we're going. We are going to build a brand. I've been saying that for weeks. Actually, I've been saying that for a long time, a lot more than weeks. But I've been getting the question, what does that even look like? But we are talking about building a brand that people recognize and people trust. It doesn't have to be everybody that recognizes and trusts your brand. Just think about it. Was it everybody that used to come to your site when it came through Google? No. We just need to build a brand that's recognized and trusted within the industry of your business, of your content. Now, for this business, Income School, right? I've been building a brand. I don't just write blog content. If I did, you wouldn't be watching this video. For years now, we've been making video content. And video does more to strengthen the trust and rapport and recognizability of your brand than written blog content ever will. It's been that way for a very long time. Hence why we've actually been saying it here on this channel for a very long time. To the extent that we actually had to start another YouTube channel to teach how to make video, because whenever we talked about that on this channel, most of the time people didn't really want to hear it. But it's by far the biggest thing that has grown our brand. It's allowed us to build trust and it's allowed us to interact with you in ways that we never could with just a blog. You see, when I make a video, when I interact with you in the comments, even when I just talk to you, just like this, just like we're talking right now, and I'm not even hearing what you have to say back to me, right? I'm just talking to you. The reality is when we have this sort of interaction, you're far more likely to come back. You're far more likely to look at the other content that I have, way more than if you just read a good blog post on my website. And as you come back over and over and over again, that strengthens your connection to this brand. But it goes beyond that. In addition to just creating videos, I've been consistent with my brand identity so that when you do see me in a video, you generally know what to expect. Actually, this video feels a little more off-brand than some. But I guess I'm deliberately trying to make a point and deliberately trying to do something a little bit different because this needs to stand out and I need to get this through to you. But the fact that you come to know me and you come to know what to expect when you come to this channel, it comes through to the extent that recently, when news came out about the Google leak, right? I was getting comments from people who, even though I'm sure they had watched other people's videos, they had already read about the leak, they knew what was going on, they were waiting for my assessment of the leak because they trust me and they wanted to hear what I had to say about it. That's brand recognition. That's trust. And that's something you can build with your audience, and that's what you're going to need to do going forward. If we build a brand, We're going to get traffic to our website. We're going to be able to sell products. We're going to be able to even make money from the traditional, more passive income streams. We're going to be able to do it again. And we're going to get that traffic from a lot of sources, not just Google anymore. But the better we do at that, the more we're also going to get our traffic from Google and from all of the other search engines. Building a brand really isn't rocket science. It just starts with creating a consistent experience for people who interact with you wherever they're likely to interact with you. Then it builds with creating a positive interaction, a positive experience with the people that you want to interact with. Now notice I didn't say with everyone. That's because you'll never please everyone. And if you try to, it's just gonna cause you to please no one. So focus on creating quality content that the people that you're trying to attract are gonna like, and just leave it at that. But now we're going beyond just creating content and putting it out there. Now we're gonna take our branding a step further, and we're gonna strengthen that brand by finding that audience, finding those viewers wherever they are. And that is the key to good marketing. Now look, between AI and the March Google Apocalypse update, that old approach of just creating the content and letting Google put it in front of the right people, that's not working anymore. So what do we do now? How are we going to get our content found by those people who would want what it is that we have to offer? We're going to need to focus on multi-channel growth. Get found by putting your content where the right people are. If they're not going to find you through Google, and if most of them haven't yet switched to Bing, Yahoo, and DuckDuckGo, or any of the other search engines, then we're going to have to put our content where they are. So what you need to find out is, what are the platforms that your people are using? This is so important. This is so valuable, but it's actually just so easy. Look on Facebook for groups. Look on Reddit for related subreddits where you could participate. Look on Discord for groups. Open public groups on your topic. Do people spend a lot of time consuming content about your topic on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook Reels? Are they on Twitter? Where are the people? Where's the interaction taking place? And it's not hard to find. Do some research and figure out which platforms are most used by your people, or the people that, will be your people. And then make a plan for how you could participate on those platforms. About a year and a half ago, I started a new project. My goal was to grow it to $4,000 a month within 1 year. My timing could not have been worse, and it didn't happen. Last year, AI caused content to proliferate like crazy. I had other things happen in my business and in just my life in general that made it impossible for me to do the amount of work I intended to do in the first place. But changes to the Google algorithm, changes to content production, to AI, they came not out of nowhere, but at the same time, it wasn't obvious that this was going to happen. I mean, OpenAI, they launched ChatGPT, and overnight, there were a lot of changes. And so the project, as I initially planned it, it didn't happen. I mean, I shared my results after 1 year, and I told you I was going to keep going. I was going to make this happen, and I would eventually share this site with you. Then in March, Google dropped a bomb on all of us, but I'm still at it. And there's a reason I'm still at it. And we'll address that in just a minute here. But the cool thing is that because I didn't just rely on traffic from Google and written blog content, that brand that I've spent a year and a half on, of my free time, I spend most of my time on this, on learning and teaching everything I can to help you. But spending the time that I could on that project for a year and a half, it wasn't all gone to waste. In fact, right now, that brand is still growing. And I decided that it's actually time that I shared that project with you, mostly because I want to be able to show you while I do things. Right now, I think is a critical, pivotal time in content creation. Not just because of AI, not just because of Google, but all of the things put together. There are more creators, I think, now than ever. There's more content being created right now than ever. And amongst all that, there's rapid change. And so right now at this time, I think it's more important than ever that I show you what I'm doing as I'm doing it, and I'm showing you the successes and the failures in real time, not just after the fact. So here it is. I have this brand. It has a website. It has a YouTube channel, a Facebook page, it has an Instagram, it has a LinkedIn page, and it has a Pinterest. And well, it's a lot of things. Guess how well I'm running all of those? Yeah, not amazingly, because it's a lot. But right now, I'm focusing on just 2 of those. The first one is YouTube. YouTube is the platform Honestly, it's the platform where I've had the most success growing any brand. Now, there are other video platforms as well that are working extremely well, but I find that long-form content on YouTube, that's where I build the greatest trust and the best brands. So that's where I want to be. The second platform that I'm focusing on right now is Pinterest. But that's because Pinterest it's not as much because of the brand recognition, although there's a little bit of that. I put my branding into my pins. People will see that, recognize that. But because Pinterest is actually a search engine, and it can actually drive fairly reliable traffic. And now with this brand, I actually just started on Pinterest. And there's a reason I'm doing it right now. And it's because in the past, we didn't like Pinterest very much. In fact, for a while, their algorithm, it really didn't like it if you sent people off platform, which is ironic because like that's what Pinterest is for, is to like help people find projects and cool things and stuff and then be able to go to those pins, right? But if your pins did a good job of sending people to your website, that was bad for the algorithm. Well, I think Pinterest figured out what their platform is for, and they've turned that around. And if people are clicking on your pins and going to your blog, that's a good signal to Pinterest. And so the usability of Pinterest for bloggers, for content creators like us, well, it's gone way up. And I learned that because a member of Project 24, Kara, who has been using Pinterest for a long time for her business, she brought that to my attention. And she taught me. She taught us in Project 24 how to do Pinterest the right way. And she set up Pinterest for my website, Cook for Folks. And it's done well enough in a matter of just a few short months that when the March Google Apocalypse update happened, I didn't even see it on Cook for Folks at all, even though it lost most of its search traffic. And that's because Pinterest was replacing the traffic as quickly as I was losing it from Google. So now I'm using Pinterest as a search engine, one of the search engines, that's going to drive traffic to my new website. In an upcoming video very soon, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing on Pinterest, how I'm using it, what worked so well for Cook for Folks, and how I'm implementing that same strategy on my new brand so that you can do it right now as well in real time. Look, change can be disruptive, and really disruptive change is usually very painful. It's very uncomfortable. You have to step out from what you knew worked in the past into the unknown of what you're not sure is going to work in the future. But those who are willing to step forward and try and figure things out until they do know what's going to work and they're the ones implementing it first, that is where by far the biggest reward is. That's where people make the big money. If you sit around and you wait until other people have got it all sorted out and figured it out, and then they make courses to teach it to you and they put all this information on their YouTube channel, for the most part, you're already behind and you miss out on the biggest opportunities. So here I am at the forefront. I am going to be working to figure it out, and I'm going to do it right alongside you. And so if you'll do the work on your end, while I'm showing you what I'm doing on my end, I think there's no limit to what we're going to be able to achieve in the coming weeks, months, and years. The opportunity's there, and it's huge. So I hope you'll join me in that, and then I'll see you here for my next video.